Well, hello. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Living United with Nashua Business. I'm your host, Mike Affelberg. You know, the idea of this show is that we bring to the air businesses that are local from within our community and talk about what they do, how they're making a difference for their customers, and how they're making a difference in the community. And I can't tell you how excited I am today to have with me on this show some good friends of ours who've been great community supporters who I've known for a very long time, our friends from GM Roth Design Remodeling. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Good seeing you. So we have John Martin and we have Spencer Roth from GM Roth. And I'm thinking maybe Spencer, will start out with you if you don't mind.
Yep.
Spencer, there's no coincidence that the name is GM Roth and your name is also Roth.
Yes.
So I'm taking it this is a family business, and maybe let's just talk a little bit about the history and what you do.
Yeah, so family business. My father, Jerry, started the business back in it was 1986. So once we hit 2023, we'll be in our 37th year, which is awesome. So it started back in '86. Him and my mom had just moved into a two-family. My dad was actually working at Digital at the time, but when they bought that two-family, he decided to try his hand at remodeling, which went very well, obviously. So basically, he kind of fell in love with remodeling, just remodeling that two-family with him and my mom, you know, by his side. And it just really took off from there. And here we are 37 years later. We're a full-service remodeling company. We do kitchens, baths, additions, decks, finished basements, finished attics. Really anything you can think of in the remodeling sphere, we'll take care of. And it's not just the family business, although my sister is there as well as the head of accounting.
Yep.
My mom's part of the business, Sandy, as well. She helps in the accounting department as well, but she's more of a part-time basis now. And me and Taylor have started taking on more of a bigger role in the business. I'm the director of production. So really my world is all things production, making sure that the customer gets exactly what they expected and we deliver a premium project. No matter what it is, we're really turning their home into their dream house. That's our goal with every client. And it's not just the family, you know, we have 20 to 28 employees now. So one of our big things that we sell on is that we're a one-stop shop. So we'll take care of the design, we'll take care of all the upfront work, all the pre-production work, permitting, product procurement, all that stuff, engineering if necessary. And then we have the carpenters in place to actually produce the project. So, you know, it can be a challenge when homeowners have to go hire out a kitchen designer. Then they have to hire out a general contractor and possibly involve an architect or an engineer. So the big thing that we do is we package that all together for the homeowner so that they can just go to one outfit and have everything done.
Yeah, and I know you have a pretty big, well outfitted showroom as well. Is that right?
Yes, yep. So we showcase mainly our kitchens and baths in the showroom. And you know, you can take a look at windows and siding as well, but the main focus of the showroom is in the kitchen and bath world.
Now, would you say, now I'm just going to talk about the showroom for a second, if you don't mind. Is the showroom really more to give people ideas, or is it really specific, like use this design kind of a thing?
John, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, sure. I mean, the showroom is there to help our customers with a starting point, because there are millions and millions of choices. And our main function is designing our customer's project, not our project. So we'll give them some ideas and they can walk around and say, I like this, I like that. And then we'll source what we need to source at the different occasions and different places. So it really is an experience that the customer can get where they're actually going to get their project instead of a contractor's project, because a lot of other contractors do the same thing over and over and over and over.
So it's a starting.
Every project is brand new to us, and we start with that design phase. We start with either the architecture or the kitchen and bath or whatever it's necessary to make that project come to life.
So it's kind of really just a starting point to
is
generate
a
some
starting point,
ideas
but-
and get the conversation going.
But people, do you like this or do you like that? Okay, let's move in this
Yeah.
direction and we'll go where we need to go to find what we need to find.
What if somebody comes along and they want to actually do like real construction within their house as well? Like I want walls to go. I want to, like I want an open concept, for example. My wife and I recently moved out from Nashua. We sold our home and it was a very typical kind of a New England colonial, right? With small rooms and lots of them, we loved that and found it to be extremely quaint. When we went to sell the place, everybody who came through was like, 20 years younger than me and wanting an open concept. And at first I'm like, what do you even mean an open concept? Oh yeah, we would get rid of this wall, that wall, and that wall. I'm like, but that's my living room and that's my kitchen. How do you can't put those together, but that's the idea these days. Do you find yourself doing a lot of that? Really removing walls too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
All the time.
that's most of what we
Interesting.
do is space changes. So that's kind of like
No kidding.
a little niche that we found ourselves in because,
Yeah.
like I was saying, we have that team in place that can handle the engineering. We have several people that have the construction supervisor license on staff, so
Yeah.
we know the codes inside and out. So when you're taking down load-bearing walls, we're fully equipped to design and just to design that for the client.
That's probably really helpful because I didn't know it. I'm like, well, I'm sorry that this house is not what you want, but you're going to have to change it somehow. It probably is also interesting, I think, for you to see how, as the population changes, we have younger people buying houses, but we also have an aging population, right? And one of the things that we know from United Way is that this New England area is surprisingly one of the most rapidly aging areas in the country. In fact, I think New Hampshire is number 2 on the list behind either Vermont or Maine. We're all in the top 3. And people always think about, Florida and Arizona when they think about, seniors and large senior populations, but it's really here. And that probably affects a lot of the work you do as well, I'd imagine. Is that fair? Or?
I'd say it's very fair, especially
Yeah.
recently. I mean, just given exactly what you said, the statistics that are coming out now. 1900, there were 200,000 people over 65. Now there's 20 million. And that population is going to continue to grow. And by the 2040, there'll be over 24 million people in that particular category. And people like to live in their homes. They want to stay in their homes. 90% of the people who are 50 and over envision themselves staying there or getting into a home that they can live forever, because memories are there and all sorts of different things are there that where people really feel comfortable in their home. So we do that every day.
Yeah, so my aunt recently, before she transitioned into an assisted living facility, she had her apartment that she was living in heavily modified to do things like creating a barrier-free, room access to her bedroom. And I know she was looking at doing some modifications in her kitchen, in her bathroom, all things around being able to age in place. And I think there are even some industry certifications to do that type of work. Is that what are you involved with that?
Funny thing you mentioned that. Spencer and I are both certified aging in place specialists. I mean, we've gone through our certifications in National Home Builders Association.
Yep.
They have all sorts of different things, and we actually have 3 people in the company. Jerry, his father is
Jerry as
also.
well.
So we actually focus on that stuff, and there's all sorts of important things that we do to make sure that person is comfortable in their home and can function in their home and can stay in their home, because people age and some people age differently. 16% of the people who are over 65 have some sort of disability, whether it's visual or mobility or whatever it is. So you have to be able to adapt to that, and we spend an awful lot of time understanding that. Different things that we've gone through is like recent seminar I went to was people who have sundown. And then some people are familiar with that, where at night old people who are aging start to get a little difficult to handle. So there's all sorts of things you can do with lighting and things like that make a big difference in taking care of those people and making sure it's done properly.
What are the biggest modifications that you end up getting involved with? Well, like most popular types of modifications for aging in place.
Obviously, but there's kind of falls into three. One, your bathroom. But if you
Right.
go back it up, for people who are aging in place, you have to get into the place, so you need access. And then you need to be able to move around, or the doorway's wide enough, or the hallway's wide enough. If you're in a walker or you're not in a walker, even a normal person walking who's a little unsteady with their feet needs a little more room to walk. And then obviously bathroom facilities have to be brought up to code, curbless showers, all those different type of things to make it easy for them. And then sinks and vanities and all those. And then depending on the person's stage, whether in the kitchen, can they get around the kitchen, counter heights, colors of countertops, because your eyes start to go. So
Right.
you don't want to be dropping stuff on the floor. So you have to have all those different things that make a big difference. Because let's face it, that the houses designed today are designed for a 20-year-old who can do everything. The aging in place stuff is something you kind of have to do. And a big part of that,
And it's pretty personalized, it sounds
it's
like.
very personalized. We have a checklist of 25 pages that we go through to make sure that we're addressing all the issues in the front end and making sure we get that proper design that's going to really work for them, not only today, but in 10 years and 15 years. Because what you need today isn't necessarily what you need in 15 years or 20 years. So you really want to have that long scope. And once you've got it designed and you've got everything exactly the way you want, then you have to build it.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of trying.
Yes.
And Spencer can talk a little bit about how, especially those type of clients that we have, how we can handle and make it as pleasant as possible.
So before we do that, I wanted to ask, so financing of those projects can be pretty expensive, I'd imagine. Is it possible to use like a construction loan to do some of that work?
In general, some people do construction loans. Some people will do, equity loans in their houses and stuff like that. I know people have used reverse mortgages and stuff like that in order to stay where they need to do. There's all sorts of options out there which you can do, and that's an important thing that you bring up, that you got to have that kind of set up in the front part.
Right. How about resale value? Because I can imagine it can either be a real positive, strong point, or it can be a real negative, aspect as well.
Well, funny you mention it, because we have a lot of people who come to us and actually are looking for that auxiliary dwelling unit, which is a place what we used to call in-law apartments. Now they're called auxiliary dwelling
I don't know
units.
why we don't still call them in-law apartments.
Because
I really like that term. Everybody gets it, but I know.
But in the infinite wisdom of the governmental things, that like the state of New Hampshire a number of years ago set forth some requirements that make towns allow you to have those. And so it was auxiliary dwelling units, and it goes all the way across the country. But it's something like I said, we had a customer who came to us. They're looking for a house because they knew they're going to have to take their parents in. They want to put them to a home, so they sold their house and found one where we could actually put an auxiliary dwelling unit that works out really well, and it worked out really well for the family, because they're just right there. They're either downstairs or next door or down a hall, or there's all sorts of different ways that they can do in their own little kitchen and so they can live their independent lives, but next door.
Well, I'm trying to make sure that my kid's next house has enough room on it for my auxiliary dwelling unit, because it's going to be a necessity. I'm telling you. And my daughter is in denial about this, very much, but it's going to happen. I'm telling you.
What goes around comes around. Back in the 1900s, people stayed together in family units. Then as we went along, people separated. Now with COVID and the expensive things, families are coming back together, maybe out of a necessity, or maybe out of something that they really want to have happen.
But the truth is, it really is a good thing. I grew up with a family that was very spread around. My parents moved to California. I was raised there. My grandparents were in Florida one set, and New York and the other set. My cousins are all over the country. And now we're at the point where we're doing exactly the it comes around. Our kids live locally. We're going to live near them, whether they like it or not. They might move. We're moving with them because, you want to be your grandchildren, and you want to be part of that family, the nuclear family. And I think that's hopefully a trend that's coming back. You're probably seeing a bunch of that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that makes us extremely successful is our processes. We follow processes all the time, and kind of, you can design something, you can get it nice, but until you get it built and finished and people are happy with it, it's not complete.
Right.
And that's kind of the harder part in the long run is making it done. And Spencer and his guys always make sure, and ladies, make sure that that it's done in such a manner, because there's something called construction fever that people exhibit, and we try to keep that very low, very methodical.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for all of that conversation about this. I think it's a really important topic. The whole aging piece is, we see that in so many different ways, and the social services side as well. Spencer, I was wanting to ask you, so on the subject of a family business, and I'm sure you guys are trying to figure out some way to exit Jerry and Sandy out the door. But there are, there's a culture in every business, and obviously, Jerry and Sandy, they started the business, they grew the business, and now you're taking it over, you and Taylor, and it's becoming like that second generation.
Right.
What do you picture as the future as far as the culture of GM Roth? What do you see keeping? What do you see changing? Where do you see yourself going?
Well, we've always been very client focused, and we definitely want to keep that piece intact, because obviously if we don't have happy customers, then the business is only going to go so far. And it's really keeping the main core values intact, which is our core values. They spell out the word client. So it's courage, be open, honest, and willing to change long term, which we want to have long term clients internally and externally. So the internal clients are obviously the people that work at GM Roth. We want to make sure that we have very low turnover. We keep our key people in place for many years to come, and we grow them throughout their careers, so they're moving forward. So the internal client is, because if you don't have happy employees, you're not going to put forth a good project. And then external clients, of course, are the customers we work for. So that's the L in long term. I is integrity. Everything we do is with integrity. E is excellence. Always striving to be excellent, put an excellent project out there. N is kind of tricky. It's innovation. We couldn't think of a better one for the word N, but so it's I with a capital N.
That works. I get that.
We're always trying to bring in new, better products for our clients, and then T is the teamwork, because we always that's huge for us, is promoting a teamwork atmosphere, because you have your sales designer, project manager, lead carpenter, and they all work together to make sure that we keep that construction fever that John was talking about down to a very, very minimum, because it's one of the most stressful things you can do in life, because your home is kind of your sanctuary. So we have the task of going in there, of demolishing a part of that sanctuary and putting it back together, and keeping the owner of that sanctuary kind of happy and satisfied through all of it can be a challenge. So we have a lot of communication processes in place to make sure that our clients know what's going on every second of every day, so they don't have to think, when's my plumber coming, or when's my electrician coming back. We want to stay in front of that, so those questions don't come up, and everyone's in the know and has a full idea of what's going on.
Well, one of the advantages of being that one-stop shop also is that your clients don't have to worry about arranging for the plumber and the electrician and all of that. You're doing that for them, right?
Right.
Making sure that it happens.
Exactly.
You mentioned employee turnover, and I know one of the ways in which businesses work to make sure that their employees do stay around is by giving back in the local community. And I know that employees like working for companies that give back, that participate in the philanthropy and the well-being of their community. And customers, of course, like working with companies that do that as well. You guys have been really involved with our nonprofit lately, which we appreciate, and wanted to mention that you were sponsors for our cornhole tournament, which was great. And you came in second place, I think, too, right?
Yep.
And honestly, you're never going to come in first place, because those guys,
oh no,
they're
incredible.
They are, and One of them, the young one wants to go pro, so that's just not going to happen. But second place is pretty good.
Yeah, we were happy for sure.
And recently you participated with us on a kit packing day, putting together care packages for local veterans living at the Delena's house. What is it about that project that really resonated with you? Because I know that was kind of your idea to put together something to support veterans.
Yeah, so we have multiple veterans on staff, so it's kind of definitely hits home in that sense. And then, just getting the whole team together. I think we had 10 or 12 people.
Yeah.
So it's not only, helping out the veterans, but also a team building exercise for GM Roth. And like you said, when it's all said and done, everyone just feels really good about themselves and positive attitude. Everyone's upbeat. It's just awesome for the company culture, as well as doing something really good for those veterans in need that, definitely need a lot of assistance in many ways. So we're just super happy to give back.
Yeah, and we appreciate it too. And it's, it's gratifying for us when a business comes along and really wants to step it up in that way. So, so thank you both. The home builders, you're members of the Home Builders Association as well, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. What is that? How are you involved with them typically? What is that as an association?
So the Home Builders Association, I mean, my dad's been a member for it's probably 30 plus years now. So it's a network group where we get together and talk about, best ways to move our industry forward and things of that nature. And we give back to the community as well. But really, it's everyone getting together to think of best practices and things of that nature for home building.
And I think you've won some awards with them too. Their Cornerstone Awards? Is that yeah.
Yeah. So,
or a lot of them, because I've been to your showroom and there's like all these trophies on the wall.
Yep. So John, if you want to take that one.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Home Builders Association every year runs for design awards, and from all sorts of different, from kitchens, bath additions to outdoor, all sorts of different stuff. And you submit and there's judges and stuff like that. It just so happens that for the past, I don't know how many years, it's been a long time, we win the Cornerstone Award, which is the most popular People's Choice Award. And we seem to win all those every year. And in the different categories, we win between, I'd say, 7 and 11 every year. And between bath and outdoor projects and decks and whatever. So we really focus on quality work. And I guess that's one of the ways we can kind of measure our quality, is that other people in our industry recognize us as doing a good job and providing a service that's well recognized.
Are there limitations to how big or extensive a project would be for you guys to take it on? Would you tear a place down to the studs and build it from the ground up?
I would say, that would be on the rare side, but if we had the right client at the right location, I would say it's definitely something we could handle. We're just not doing those projects day in and day out. More of our niche is modifying existing or putting additions on. Okay. We've done a lot of ranches, putting a second story on those. So that's kind of more of our bread and butter for sure.
Yeah, it's funny because when I first went to work at GM Roth, I heard that someone asked Jerry, "Why don't you build houses?" And Jerry says, "It's too easy."
Well, you said
you're just building from scratch. When you have to incorporate a design into an existing structure, it has to look right. It has to feel right.
Yeah.
And then you have to be able to adapt to the situations that you have. You run into, we found this. We're going to have to change that. We're going to have to do this. Yeah. So it's a much more challenging environment, wouldn't you say?
For sure.
But it's more of an art per se, because you really have to make it look like, you'll drive down the street and you'll see these houses and there'll be a box sitting next to a house that you go, that doesn't look like it belongs there. We strive to make it look like it's natural, it belongs there. It's something you go, ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, and fits in some way or another into the existing structure just modifying it. I think that's interesting that it's too easy. I can see Jerry saying that.
Totally.
And, but I had never heard the story about Jerry kind of starting out as the DIY guy in his own duplex and saying, hey, this is kind of fun. I like this. I want to maybe do this for a living. That's a great story.
Yeah. He just fell in love with it. And then my mom kind of got taken along with him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the way that usually happens. Is there a geographic territory that you guys cover?
So we service northern Massachusetts, southern New Hampshire. So basically anything that you can get to from Nashville within 45 minutes is really something that we'd be interested in. But we've taken jobs in Newburyport, some in Wakefield. So we are starting to spread our territory a little bit as we're continuing to grow. But I would say, generally within that 45 minutes in Nashua.
Sure, that probably makes sense in terms of organizing and coordinating with your guys and
and the subcontractors and.
Yeah, it makes sense. Where should people go to learn more? Website, phone number, all of that good stuff.
Yep. So our website is just gmroth.com, and our phone number is 603-880-3761.
Okay. I know that personally I would encourage anybody who's interested just to come by and look at your showroom, if nothing else. It's pretty remarkable. Located right here between exits 5 and 6 in Nashua. 4 and 5, 5 and 6. 5 and 6.
4 and 5, yeah, right on Northeast Boulevard.
That's true. 4 and 5. Okay, well, listen, guys, we're just about out of time, but I did want to thank you for coming on the show. John, thank you so much. Spencer, we appreciate all the work that you guys are doing in the community and to help us out and to support and give back. And I just love the work and seeing how GM Roth is growing and expanding its footprint. So great stuff. I have a gift for you. A baseball cap, a United Way baseball cap. I tell people everybody gets a gift when they come on our TV show, and it's never very good. So, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Listen, thank you for everything you do, and
thanks for having us.
The support.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Mike.
So you've been listening to another episode of the Living United with Nashua Business television show. I've been speaking with GM Roth, local business which specializes in remodeling contracting, and you can learn more by going online and looking them up on the web. Thank you so much, Spencer and John. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.